Goes on under the water. There's a really interesting thing happening at the moment in our waters off the Dorset coast, and it's called the Marineff project, who've been working with Bournemouth University to look at the biodiversity of life in our seas. And we can find out a bit more about one of the schemes they've got going on in Poole with Jess Bone, who's a marine biologist, PhD student at Bournemouth University, who joins me on the line now. Jess, good morning.
Good morning.
Very nice to talk to you. Good day to go out rock pooling today, more so than yesterday.
I know.
Although I'm sure the sea life probably loves it when it's throwing it down. Anyway, what's been going on with these artificial rock pools?
So these rock pools, they're part of a 3-year EU-funded project, like you said, the Marineff project. And the main aim is it's trying to find ways to increase biodiversity on coastal structures. So like you said earlier, we're looking at groins, we're looking at sea walls, anything that's man-made on the coastline is obviously made for flood defence or some other function, but it's not made for marine life. So a lot of the species that you find on there, the biodiversity is quite low compared to like a natural rocky shore. So what we're trying to do with the Marineff project is find ways to create more space and habitat for nature to move in. So that's what these rock pools are all about.
And I guess as a kind of land-based corollary, people might think of, say, Swift bricks. I don't know if you've heard of these, but you know how you can sometimes have special bricks in your home that allow birds to nest within them. This is the kind of underwater equivalent of that, I would say.
Yeah, so it's a very kind of similar principle. It's about adding that little bit for nature in a man-made structure. Yeah, so it's a similar concept. So they're not terribly big. They're kind of, I suppose, like bathroom sink basin size. And you just pop them on the seawall and then they hold a little bit of water, and they also cast shade underneath, so you get that kind of dampness underneath. So it's all these little things that just make it more friendly on that seawall for marine life to hide in when the tide goes out.
So you are trialling this at the moment to see how well it works. You set some of these artificial rock pools up in Poole about a month ago. We're not going to say exactly where they are, but people may have seen them. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, they're definitely not hidden away. So there's a chance that people may have seen them, and they have created a little bit of interest when I've been surveying them. People have had a chat with me about them. So yeah, they're definitely catching a little bit of interest, which is great. So yeah, we've got 45 rock pools in the harbour, and yeah, we've monitored them already. We've been monitoring them this week in the rain. So we've found about 10 species on them so far. Some of those species we've not recorded yet on the seawall, so that's very exciting that they've only been in for a month and we've already found things in them that are increasing the biodiversity on the seawall. So that's really exciting.
What kind of things are we talking about?
So we found some prawns in there, pretty consistently finding at least 1 or 2 prawns in each one. There's a species of seaweed that we've not recorded on the seawall yet, and also a little springtail, which is a tiny little blue thing that looks like an ant.
Oh, that's fun. I wonder if there's... So I don't know much about this at all, but I saw one of those Facebook memories pop up on my timeline a few days ago, and it was about 4 or 5 years back, where I was just off Ringstead Bay in Dorset, watching someone sink a boat, which they were hoping to use as some kind of lobster seeding bed.
Oh, fantastic.
And, you know, the starts of a reef, so that there might be some recreational diving that goes on this sunk boat, all that kind of stuff. I don't know where it is 4 or 5 years long. Would you ever need to seed these rock pools and maybe sort of introduce life there so that, you know, it could have because if these prawns are there, they've got to have come from somewhere else, right?
Yeah, so... Seeding is a very interesting kind of concept in terms of trying to encourage that biodiversity a bit quicker, or maybe a specific species. And it is being trialled, I believe, in potentially Wales, I think, as part of an eco-structure project.
Okay.
But it's not something that we're doing. We found that already we're getting a lot of green seaweed starting to grow on the ones in Poole Harbour. So there's plenty of marine life about to kind of move in.
I see.
It
Just
seems
needs the
very.
opportunity.
It just needs the opportunity, yeah. And because the rock pools are made by a company called Articology on the Isle of Wight, so they're very good at knowing what materials are a bit more receptive to marine life. So although they are made from concrete, they're made from a concrete that isn't as chemically aggressive as traditional concretes. So yeah, we can see that working already by how well they've kind of colonized over just a month.
So 1 month in already with these new prawns and seaweeds and those sorts of things. How long will this last, and how long until we potentially see these sorts of artificial rock pools popping up any time someone is, refixing a sea wall or rebuilding a groin?
So the long-term goal is obviously to have these kinds of features, rock pools and whatnot, incorporated into mainstream coastal engineering from the design phase. So when you're creating your next big flood defence, you're thinking about how to make homes for marine life, as well as kind of what functions it provides for people as well. So that's the aim. We're going to be monitoring these rock pools for about 2 years.
Oh, wow.
So at the end of that, hopefully we'll have a nice big stack of evidence that we can put in front of policymakers, we can put in front of coastal engineers and say, these work. There's no detriment to the structure itself by adding these features. And we also know that they're great things to have in the public realm, for people to go rock pooling and looking. It's just another added bonus that they have. So, yeah, that's the long-term goal.
Well, stay in touch, Jess. If you find anything absolutely thrilling down there, do let us know, and maybe we'll check back in again, in the not-too-distant future.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Jess Bone, who's a Bournemouth University student, a PhD student no less, involved in that Marineff project, which you can find out more about. Marineff, sort of spelt as it sounds, MARINEFF project is what you look for online. 23 minutes past 7.